6 minutes.
Did you want me to go live? I did.
Yeah, you can go live.
Yeah, you two are early.
I think it's,
Yeah, I think it'll spin until 7, right?
Yeah.
Like it did last
yeah,
time.
might not go out, we'll check.
I don't need anything else, right? I got this.
My Fitbit is right, it's 6:56.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's 2 minutes
We're
off.
now we're 1 minute off.
1 minute off.
Oh, gosh.
Whoop, better shut the
Well, that's what
ringer off.
as well, and then this is, that's revised, that's, you know, sort of black and white copy. So it's number the same. I think it's good. This was the one that they changed. Yep. This one's fine. Thank you.
Did you get my text about the motion to accept our minutes from the infrastructure meeting?
No, I didn't get
You
any.
never got it?
It was
I
on
didn't
there.
get any text from you.
It was,
When did you send it?
Did you get the
it's
text?
on the, it was on the,
That's the fiscal.
it's on the agenda.
Okay.
I sent it to you early this morning.
Council meetings. It's on there.
Huh? No, I mean the infrastructure meeting.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Well, we'll do it right with those, how's that?
Yeah, that'd be all right.
After 5 before 6, I'll ask you if you have a motion, you'd like to make. How's that?
Oh, where? Yeah, that's fine.
Right after the motion to file the council meeting minutes.
Okay, that's fine. I was gonna do it on the
I'll ask you
other
to file-
business, but that's fine.
Yeah, because I didn't get
Good.
it. Did you get it? I was on there this morning, so
How do we
you might
want
have
to
been on
do
there after.
this certificate? Remember, we have to do that. Do you want to say sign it before we go through the legislation, and then you hand it to her and she signs
Hey,
it
Dave,
and
how
hands
are
it
you,
back
sir?
to
Good to
herself?
see you. That sounds good. I could just hand it to her.
Okay.
Do I have to sign it now, or do I
We
wait?
might as well save a little time. If I'll hand it to you, then they act like you're signing it, I guess.
Well, I think you can sign that.
Alrighty.
It doesn't matter.
Might not be for a few hours.
You're gonna
But, or tomorrow.
No, we had another
Gotcha.
thing with.
Okay. So here, when do we want to do that?
But
I would say we will do that,
my sister's birthday party, and then it's the Notre Dame
at
game.
council
She
comments.
went to Notre Dame, so
Right,
it's
so
like,
the
you know, so
legislation.
it's always exciting
Okay.
to watch the Notre Dame game, because that's her
Just for the
college.
record,
You're gonna
Yeah,
hand
so
it to
bad.
her and take care of it.
He
Okay.
said they had a wonderful time, I ran
And
into
then we
him
can
today.
do the,
He said they had a wonderful time, so I'm glad, you
will
know.
you say,
Yeah, I'm trying to think what
Yeah.
authority.
But it's hard to change like family things when
Or you're
it's,
by
you know.
bond council. How's
Yeah.
that sound?
Well, that's,
My sister's not gonna change her birthday, and we're not gonna move the Notre Dame game.
for some reason,
Every
every year, October
you can do that?
seems
There you go, here it is,
busier and
Johnny.
busier for us. It's just
Okay.
like people, you know,
So
people
we are set for that.
which is great. I mean,
Yeah, well, the weather's still nice
Yeah.
and things, so yeah, get-togethers.
Anybody want to water? There's some waters
we
there.
wanted to get away, we wanted
You know me, I'll snatch one.
Finger Lakes.
Yep.
You got a couple there, I think.
I know I drink a lot.
Now
I
the
must have
weather
had
turned
10 waters.
That's good, that's good for you.
But I think
Yeah,
it might be
what are you gonna do? Hey,
Looks like it's
good out
clear
there.
again.
You gotta do is that.
there, so I think we're gonna just take off.
Hey,
Well, hopefully.
working out, except for my legs.
So we're just waiting for Ray. I haven't received anything, so he should be here. It's early, I got a couple minutes.
There he comes.
He's recovering,
Good evening, sir.
recovering from
Yeah, it was
the Golden Jubilee.
I heard it was quite the blowout. The police were there and everything. There was a lot of,
It was the easiest job ever.
What?
The police.
good, his party. I'm teasing him, but
Oh, Ray, you had a very nice, that was very, very nice.
Thank you.
Something in my eye all of a sudden here. Looks like it's gonna storm about a lot.
that's what it
Yeah,
looks
they
like.
said it
Like a
is.
storm moving in.
We've got it coming
Yeah,
again.
let's check it, dude.
Oh, there's snowstorm.
All right, I think, is it
Better
on?
not be.
We
Hold
are,
on, let me go check it.
Sorry, I'm late.
I was gonna let you up.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I just want to check this.
saying. Oh, yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it's coming in right here. Rain, yeah, it's coming in. 8 o'clock, it's gonna, looks like it's gonna blow right through. We got a long meeting tonight anyway, we won't get out here till 11, 12, so. Dave's shaking his head.
Nicole's on PS.
State up north, she loves to share with me about what's coming. I'm like, I don't care if
Yeah,
you
8 to 10 is showing.
keep that crap. And as you know, weather goes, usually the next day, we may not get everything.
Right.
I don't wanna know about that stuff. I miss getting out today, just getting such a nice day.
If you need something to do, come over my house.
No, I
Plenty of work.
never need anything to do with Christmas. I have more than enough.
What's that?
And the more you do, the more you find out you have to do. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep,
Terry was out there pulling
that's
flowers.
my life right there. Our house is gutted right now,
Him
too.
too.
Is yours still gutted? Oh,
There, you feel okay?
oh, no, ours, one thing led to another. One plumbing issue led to another, and our whole bottom half of our house
Hey,
is
Dave.
gutted.
You know anything about that house
Basement,
next door?
family room, utility room, first floor bathroom.
Hasn't been anybody in there for a couple of weeks, I'm just
It's
wondering.
just, it's awful. I got 3
All right,
pods in my
That's that
driveway.
one that sits so close to the road between Holtz and mine.
You guys ready?
Oh, not by
Parking
choice.
that truck there for a while, right? And but they haven't seen anybody there over
It's in my pocket, so I don't.
No, it's not very inconvenient.
Yeah.
It takes a while to hardly ever like a few times.
Fred, Diane, you guys ready?
Remember the family.
Okay.
Driveway coming and going.
Pledge of allegiance, please.
Are we calling to order?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to take a moment of silence for deceased residents Darlene, Dolly, Brohall, and Russell DeCarlo. Thank you, everybody. What's that? I don't need to call to order. That's just the start of the meeting. What do I do with call to order?
Usually you say I'd like to call it to order at 7 o'clock.
No, that's. Oh, you mean my whole thing, you're right. Right. I can do that, yeah, I kind of missed that. Okay, before we do roll call, I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular council meeting of Tuesday, October 21st at 2025 at 7:03 p.m. Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Here.
Okay, all of council present, along with our law director, John Montello, our fiscal officer, Nicole Sell, our fiscal clerk, Melissa Sangrick, and our police chief, who's back there, Dave Kwiatkowski. Okay. Item 5, I'd like to ask for a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
and I'd like to
Councilman Allen.
make a motion to receive and file the council minutes for September 16th, 2025, regular council meeting, the October 7th, 2025, Committee of the Whole, and the October 7th, 2025, special council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second?
Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes?
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you, everybody.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
did you want to file your minutes?
Yeah, I think the mayor is going to ask.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Is there any motions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. We had an infrastructure committee meeting on September 16th, and I did submit draft minutes to the committee I'd like to have, and the committee members are Jennifer Allen and Raymond Whedon. I'd like to ask them for a motion to accept the draft committee minutes of 9/16 of '25.
Motion to adopt the meeting, infrastructure meeting minutes for September 16th, draft meeting minutes.
Second by, so vote on the motion.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Jennifer Allen, yes, okay. Minutes passed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Before we have Michael Lively's presentation, does anybody have anything before council? Anybody watching the live stream? Like to welcome anybody watching the live stream, whether residents or non-residents? Okay, then at this time, we have Michael Lively here from the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Good evening.
But you can still introduce yourself and give your role, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Good evening. As mentioned, my name is Michael Lively. I'm with the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I don't live in the county, but I'm here on behalf of someone who does live in the county. So, good evening. My name is Michael Lively, and I'm the Director of Information Technology for the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Last year, I attended the Village Council meeting to reintroduce you to Cuyahoga County DD and to give you an overview of the work that we do. This year, I'd like to start by recognizing an important milestone for Cuyahoga DD, and that is our 20th anniversary from our last levy. 2/3 of Cuyahoga DD's $150 million budget comes from a $3.9 million continuous levy that was last passed by Cuyahoga County voters in 2005. From birth through adulthood, we support people with DD to live their best lives. Our mission is to support and employ people with developmental disabilities to live, learn, work, and play in their community. Last year, we served 19 people with developmental disabilities right here in Walton Hills, and we have served approximately 15,000 across Cuyahoga County. That is a 20% increase in people since we served compared to 2005, which was our last levy. Over the last 20 years, this levy approved by Cuyahoga County voters has supported people with developmental disabilities through early intervention services, therapy and occupational and physical therapy and speech language pathology, consultative services to support students in schools, transition services for young adults, housing and employment supports, and assistive technology services. Levy funding also allows Cuyahoga DD to make strategic investments in the community. Since 2021, we have granted nearly $1 million to support over 50 community libraries, arts, culture, and recreation and leisure organizations to make the programs and physical spaces accessible to those with disabilities. And we also awarded $180,000 in community grants in 2025. In addition to the work that supporting people with developmental disabilities in Cuyahoga County, we strive to be a resource for the communities. We would welcome the opportunity to talk more about how we can best support the residents of Walton Hills. Thank you for your time. And I also have just some handouts that I can leave. I don't know if you want to put them somewhere that's available that anyone can read them. This explains the different stages that we go through as we help people. So it's early childhood, school age, transition, and then all the way through adulthood.
You can hand them out to us, and then you want to give some to the residents that are here.
Put some in the lobby.
Any questions for Mr. Lively?
Yeah, Mayor Colgrove?
Yes.
Yes, I do have a question. Mr. Lively, thank you for being here. Other than the levy, what are the other revenue sources? Do you know the other revenue sources that for this initiative?
Yeah, so the majority of our funding comes from the local levy, which we believe will have to go out for a new levy probably sometime in 2028. That levy was, initially going to last 10 years, but we've made it last 20, so it's a big accomplishment. We also get federal waivers from the federal government, and then also funding from the state as well. So those are our primary sources of revenue.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Lively, I spoke with our police chief a couple of months ago when I saw a program about the blue envelope, and I don't remember what state it was, but it was for people with disabilities, that they would have it in their car.
Okay.
And the officers would know about, their license would be flagged that they should have this, and it would explain to the officer or first responders how to relate to those people. Lights and sirens are not good and stuff, and being aggressive or loud. Do you guys have anything like that?
I believe we do. I'll find out more information, but I believe we do. I know we have liaisons that also work with the county courts, that work directly with the court. And then we also have programs where then we're also, just speaking from a technology standpoint, since that's my field, we have VR goggles that we utilize. And so we have programs in there that individuals we serve can go through, and we have probably well over 100 different situations that they can go through, scenarios, whether it's going through TSA, how to get on the bus, and just recently some were regarding law enforcement, so that they're more aware and more comfortable in that situation as well.
Right. The program that I saw also included fire and EMS, so that there would be on file with the local police department where the hiding space might be for a child that is frightened and tends to hide in a certain spot, in cases of emergencies, like a house fire or anything like that, so.
Yeah, I'll find out more information, and then I have your email, so I'll
Yes.
get the information over to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Lively? Any questions from any residents that are here, or any non-residents that are watching the live stream?
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And like Mr. Councilman Spitznagel said, you're more than welcome to stay if you want.
Run.
Okay. Okay, you got the mayor's report, item 7. All right. This is for the month of September. The Walton Hills Police Department issued 161 citations in the month of September. The predominant violation was driving on a closed roadway, with 67 citations issued, followed by 19 citations issued for expired plates and 14 citations issued for unsafe vehicle. We had no arrests for driving while under the influence of alcohol/drugs, so it's something we like to see. I think those other numbers might go down too with the opening of Alexander Road. Okay. Got the monthly mayor's court report, which is also for the month of September. Total revenue was $24,203.51. Year to date, $162,456.95. Last year to date was $181,347.93. Okay. And I'll go with you, John, next, but any council comments at this time? Okay. Any comments from any residents? Okay. John, would you like to make some comment about before we do the legislation?
Oh, yes, sir. Prior to passing ordinance number 2025-12 entitled Authorizing the Issuance of Notes in the amount not to exceed $1,655,000 in anticipation of the issuance of the bonds. That the fiscal officer, Nicole Sell here, needs to certify that the estimated life of the improvements stated in the title of that ordinance and the amount financed do not exceed 5 years for, each project needs to be completed in a certain amount of time in order to qualify for financing. So she's certifying that the proceeds of the bonds and the notes here and after in the ordinance that we, assuming you're going to pass, exceeds 5 years, the maximum maturity of the bonds being 15 years and the notes being 12 years. So she just needs to certify that that's in fact true. So I'm gonna present her with this document so that she can sign the
Receive,
document
thank
and certify that. It's required to be passed before the passage of the ordinance.
Okay. So we're good with that then?
Yeah,
You're good with that, Nikki? You
Yes.
Sign it? Okay.
Receive.
Okay, receipt. All right, item 9, we'll move on to the legislation. Item A, this council, we just want to go through. I know we went through them quite a bit through our two previous COW meetings. I don't think we need to go through. I'll just introduce them and then who would ever like to introduce them for suspension and do that. How's that? Okay? So we have item A, ordinance 2025-12. Who would like to introduce that for suspension?
Mr. Mayor, I could.
Okay.
I'm sorry, was somebody else going to?
No, right.
Oh, okay.
You're fine. Go ahead, Councilwoman Allen.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance 2025-12, authorizing the issuance of notes in the amount of not to exceed $1,655,000 in anticipation of the issuance of bonds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the motion of suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yeah,
Councilman
excuse
Whedon?
me, yes.
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed, 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance 2025-12.
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes,
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed, 5-0. Just to make a note in there, a note on the notes, but we are paying more down than we anticipated, because we're able to, and we're taking out some of the older projects, paying those projects off. So that's, just kind of wanted to add that, it's a good thing. Okay, we have item B, resolution 2025-37.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Councilwoman Kanzoni.
I'd like to introduce for suspension Resolution Number 2025-37, a resolution establishing a policy on reemployment of Ohio Public Employees Retirement, OPERS, age and service retirees, and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second, vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
yes,
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Suspension passes 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption for Resolution Number 2025-37.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nielsen, vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
yes,
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution passed 5-0. We have resolution 2025-39. Before we introduce it, maybe we'll have just a few minutes discussion on it if needed or more. I know from the COW meeting last week, there were some questions. We would have liked to have gotten a person here, but they are out of state, but they did put a memo together, which is in your packet. I don't think I need to read it in the record, but does that clarify the questions that we have relating to that? Or is there any questions you might have for, go ahead.
Yeah, Mayor Coldegraph, members of council, I do have one question related to the Exhibit B and the reference in the Exhibit B, that letter that you talked about, Exhibit B, that references the potential additional collection fee of 35%, I think is what it was. I left my hard copy, but the question I have is, it talked about a municipality may, if they desire, pass an ordinance to add that 35% fee. So my question is, can we adopt this in a general sense and then still work out the details of whether or not we're going to add the 35% through an ordinance, or how do we get there if that's our option?
That's the question, whether you want to add the 35% fee. If you do, we will amend the ordinance. So I wasn't certain that you wanted to or not. I assume you do, but I wanted to make sure before we presented an ordinance adding that fee. And he gives you some examples of, what the collection rate would be, I believe, if you did so.
But the question that Councilman Whedon has, we just would make an amendment to this right now?
No, we would just, it says if the client adds a 35% collection fee. If not, the percentage will be, it will be 20 25.92, right.
No, if we don't add the 35% fee, if we add the 35% fee, then their part is 25.92.
Right,
If we do not add a 30% fee,
Yes.
they then take 30% out of our pocket.
But
Right.
but the question is, can we do that now with an amendment? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's my question, because
Yes.
the letter reference, the Exhibit B references that municipalities, may pass an ordinance. I don't know what we have to do. Do we have to pass a separate ordinance to add the 35% fee? Is that, or how do?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yes, we would amend our current ordinance and add that to our camera citation ordinance.
Okay, so then we would have this resolution to enter into the contract and a separate ordinance amendment as it relates to the overall fees for the camera ticket.
Yes, sir, if that's what you guys decide or want to do, I assume you do, but I wanted to also discuss it with you for a minute to make sure.
Okay, but we could still pass this
Yes.
and still move forward with this until we were to pass that, and then they would go with the standard collection rate that's in this,
Yes.
that's outlined in here.
Yeah, so if we
Or you
pass
wanna wait,
this,
that's up to you, whatever.
so if we pass this tonight without the separate ordinance, and they enter into the contract and they start doing the work, they are working at the 30% off of what would potentially be collected. And then what comes to the village is the lesser, the $122 on the average ticket, until we do something with it, amend the ordinance. Okay.
Yes,
That's
sir.
is that correct, John? That's what I
Yes,
was-
it'll take a little time to get up and running too, so I'm sure we'll pass it at the next council meeting if that's what you guys want to do. Maybe put it in discussion for the first COW in November and then pass it on. It'll take several months to get this up and running. It's not just going to be immediate. By the time we get our ordinance passed, it probably won't take effect till January 1st actually, but hopefully by then is the goal. So we'll see what happens.
So I guess the question that probably everybody has, should we passing it tonight, we probably should pass it and then work on the other one, because then we do have something in place moving forward, and they can start moving forward with it. And then the fee schedule would just change after we would pass that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. everybody comfortable with that?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
I had another question slash comment, Mayor, and I did have some conversation with Nicole earlier today, and I just wanted to ask if she could share some information on the severity of judgments not being collected, and we talked a little bit. Is there anything you can share with the rest of the group on why something like this may be important to the village?
Yes, Mayor. So we asked for a listing of the outstanding camera citations from GATSO, and they gave us 54 pages of uncollected tickets with approximately 45 entries per page. So we estimated that at a cost of $175 per ticket, we're looking at about $425,000 uncollected.
So that's why we need to pass something.
And question, some of those, if they're judgments, we've
You're not-
already.
Yeah, you're not gonna get all, yeah. right.
My question statement is, we've already paid the $20 fee, or whatever the fee is, to the court. So the court has been paid their fee, even though the ticket itself has not been, or the judgment has not been paid.
Correct.
Correct, okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
is that just like 1 year's worth or 2 years or whatever's on their books still?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly how many years it goes back. I can
Mhm.
find that out for you. I'm sure it's on the list. I just
Oh,
didn't look
you
at-
don't
I
have
didn't
to
look at
find
the
out.
dictionary.
I'm just, yeah, I'm glad we're taking the next
I think it's a
step.
couple of years back, yes.
Mhm. I mean, that's a lot of money that we've lost.
Well, we haven't lost it yet.
Mr. Mayor?
I don't,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Montello, how long do these citations sit on the books? Or are they eventually dropped off due to their age?
they're eventually dropped off due to their age. The court won't enter a judgment until they have proof that Gatsco mailed them to the people that are cited, and so a lot of those would be before, might have been from a year or two ago when the fee was only $100. I don't want you guys to think we might get $400,000. I don't think it's going to be that much. I think some of those were based on $100 was our maximum, or close to the maximum price of our tickets. And after 6 months, Judge DiGiorno said, if Gatsco can't prove that they served the defendants properly, then the case will be dismissed. And then, so they're working out the details, as we just had a telephone conference with them, a couple weeks ago, about what will satisfy the court to enter a judgment against these people. They're just trying to be fair and make sure people get the notices, because a lot of them move and they don't update their address, and then they're sent to the place where the vehicle was registered. Some people move, so they want proof that the people actually received them. So which is what we want to, So they're trying to set up a system where they prove that, and then the collection agency's tied into it, so every default judgment will be sent to the collection agency, and it'll flow fluidly, and we won't lose any revenue. But any cases that are older than 6 months, I believe, will be dismissed at this point. Which doesn't mean we can't refile them, but they're just dismissed for lack of lack of proof of service, basically. So that's where the collection company comes in to help us do that sort of thing. And Newburgh is also entering into, with the same company, under the same terms, and they also are not collecting at the present time, so.
It's a process that has been
Yes.
being worked on for how long? Probably over a year?
Yes, sir, yes, well, a lot of it's been miscommunication between the camera companies and the court, but it's finally getting corrected. If you remember, there was a big hoopla going on with the court, and the Gatsco was in the newspapers, Newburgh, there was a big to-do about it, and things got, you know, they finally straightened out their differences, and we, there was even lawsuits involved, if you remember correctly. And it's finally straightened itself out here, and hopefully will be totally straightened out by the first of the year here.
And we want to be compliant with the court.
Yes.
That's our main goal, to be fair to the people and be compliant with the court.
Actually, the court held the camera companies in contempt of court, if you might remember, for not following her orders. It was about a year ago, somewhere thereabouts.
A little more, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more, and so it was an ongoing battle, and they finally settled their differences, and we're still trying to get them to do what the court wants to do. They're kind of haggling over what the court wanted one thing, and they're saying, well, we can't do that for each individual case. However, I think they've reached a compromise in what will make the court happy moving forward. But it's not 100% sure yet, but the judge is on vacation for a month now, and for the first time in a long time. So, but she did request that we get this, get the collection agency on board by November 1st, if possible, and that's why we're kind of ushering it in. And also the collection fee, she said that's up to each individual community whether or not you want to impose the collection fee or not. It's totally up to you at this point.
So, go ahead, Jennifer.
I'm sorry, John, do we know if this company has worked with Gatso in the past?
I believe they did at one time or another, and there was a falling out there as well. They used to represent Newburgh, and then Newburgh decided not to collect when all the hoopla was going on because of lack of service. So Newburgh hasn't been collecting for a year or two now, and they're just reinstituting their collection procedures with this company. So they paused as well, not just, they couldn't move forward because there wasn't proof that people received the tickets to the satisfaction of the court, which makes sense. And for any judgment for that matter, you have to have proof of whether it's a camera ticket or a civil lawsuit, or you have to make sure someone's served before you can move forward. So again, there's a lot of issues with, you could read this letter. Basically it discusses, people move, and historically just over 40% of the citations that make it through are found at a different address than the one provided. So they're going to kind of do skip tracing and help us make sure we got a good address. And if we don't, then you resend the notices to the correct address. And there has to be a system in place to do it, because it's just it's a large project, to do that. So that's what these people are going to do for us.
Well, we do know that's one of the only things they do,
Yes,
is collect, and they've been doing it for 30 years.
yes.
So we're being told the company to use.
And they have no local ties. They're from Illinois.
Yeah, but
There's some.
which kind of makes this situation better too. They're a third party.
I did just notice in one of the, I don't know if I read an article or if there's a bill being proposed that they want to charge out-of-state camera companies. I can't remember how much it was off the top of my head, but it's like quite a bit of money, like a licensing fee of like $100,000, if I believe, for every community that they represent. So they're trying to. There's a few people in the State House that don't like these cameras, especially a representative from Strongsville, who he proposes legislation almost several times a year to try to say put restrictions on what communities can do, like taking away our local government fund, or penalizing us somehow because we have cameras. It's one of his pet peeves, I guess. And he just introduced another bill to try to, I don't want to say tax, because I'm not sure it's a tax, but I guess maybe they'll probably entitle it to be a registration fee for a company that does business in our state. So I might have it here, actually.
And all we want to do is just slow down the people on Alexander, have them obey the law.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Simple as that.
That's
You-
why,
You have all these things that go through it. Putting up speeding, putting up speed limit signs ain't enough anymore. So,
so they're hoping that the 35% fee will encourage people to pay. Now they're just kind of, whatever, blowing it off, but if they see there's a possible 35% fee, they're more likely to pay it, and that, if they get a letter to that, in that regard, so,
and they should pay,
yes.
or whoever was driving the car should pay. Okay, any questions on that? You guys want to pass it under suspension? You want to do first reading?
It's just gonna take,
I support it under suspension if that helps. I think we should pass it.
just real quick, Mayor, it's gonna take from a computer stand, I'm not a software, getting everybody lined up with software, and getting them all, I don't know what the term is, because I'm not a computer guy, but to get them in sync or get it all flowing properly, it's gonna take a month or 2 or 3 to get it up and running, so it's not set up for that right now, but the judge has made this one of her pet peeves to get it up and running in the next, by the January 1 at a minimum, at the latest, I should say.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'll introduce this.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce resolution number 2025-39, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Municipal Collection Association of America Incorporated, MCOA, for judgments owed for unpaid camera citations ordered by the Garfield Heights Municipal Court and declaring an emergency.
Is that for suspension?
For suspension.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Councilman Canzoni. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2025-39.
Second.
Second by Councilman Canzoni. Vote on adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Abstain.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. Adoption passes 4-1 with one abstention. Okay. We have item D, ordinance 2025-13. Who would like to introduce that for suspension?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance number 2025-13, an ordinance amending and replacing Chapter 1276 Energy Conversion Systems with Chapter 1276 Alternative Energy Facilities and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Spitznagel. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of ordinance 2025-13.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. Suspension passed 5-0. Adoption 5-0. Thank you. Okay, we have item D. Not item D, we just did that. Item E, ordinance 2025-14. Who would like to introduce that for suspension? Councilman Whedon.
Mayor Colograph, members of council, I'd like to introduce for suspension ordinance number 2025-14, an ordinance amending the ordinance passed for the 2025 budget, making additional appropriations for current expenditures of the Village of Walton Hills, Ohio during the year 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes. Mayor Colograph, members of council, I'd like to ask for the adoption of ordinance number 2025-14.
Is there a second?
Second.
Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. 5-0 for suspension and 5-0 for adoption. Thank you, everybody. We have item 10, finance update and budget discussion. Now we have the chief here, to present some of his capital items. I don't know, Nikki, if you were gonna go over some of the operating too, so. Council President and Nikki, I'll let you two get on with the finance.
Yes, good evening again, everyone. Mayor and Nicole, just basically whatever Nicole has to present, I think would be fine before the chief comes.
Okay.
Mayor, I have the finance update for September 2025. For the month of September, RETA collections were up 8.3% over last year and 8.89% for the year-to-date. Spending is currently at 62.79% of the allocated budget for the year. September expenses exceeded revenues for all funds by $154,472.53. Year-to-date revenue exceeded expenditures by $686,495.12. The general fund revenue exceeded expenses by $36,126.92 for the year-to-date. An advance to the capital fund and a payment for the 2025 preventative maintenance program increased those expenditures for the month. The village received $9,836.59 in interest income, which is up just over 55% for the year-to-date. I'm not sure if anybody has any specific questions on the financials.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Council.
can we ask about the proposed budget that Nicole just passed out now, or do you want?
Ask about anything you want.
Well, I was just wondering if you wanted to wait until the chief.
No, why don't you go ask those questions, unless it's related, just.
I don't, yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead,
The,
Brian.
the latest one we received, revised 10/12/26, shows a deficit for the general fund of $514,428. That's up from your prior estimate of $465,000. So 35, 45, about $54,000 increase. Can you let us know what that, basically what that increase is from? Is it one general thing, or?
Yes, in the engineering fees, I had originally had 200,000. In speaking with our engineer yesterday, the fees are gonna be closer to 250,000.
Okay,
In addition, we have a yearly transfer to Fund 2901 for the fee for the hydrants. It's a yearly fee that we are charged. So
Okay.
every year, we have a transfer to 2901 for that, which is the water meter repair fund. So that includes that as well.
okay. So as I was looking over this, actually I was looking over the prior budget, but it doesn't matter. The projected budget deficit, we'll take this one, 514,000. And we had Mr. Kalman in here. And right now, this is the general fund, there's no capital.
Correct.
Okay, so we're showing a deficit of 514,000. Our road projects are gonna cost us 593,000, proposed road projects. Mr. Kalman came into the meeting, I believe it was last week, correct? He's got service department increase, general increase of $82,800. capital, infrastructure capital of 66,000, maintenance and repair 37,800, and equipment replacement, which would be the 2 leases of $41,500 a year. So he's got, if we take that, if we include everything, that's $228,114.20. If we add that to the road projects, plus add that to the $514,000 deficit, that's showing a deficit over $1,300,000 for the year. Okay, now my question is, the long way to answer the question. Let me see. The general fund balance for 2026, according to your paperwork, was at the end of '26, without including all of this stuff, was $481,928.12. So my general question to you is, how can we add $1.3 million to the deficit with only $481,000 in the general fund?
Well, we can't. We have to find other means or reduce some budget items this year. I'm hoping, actually, that our revenue on our budget will be increased when I see the final amounts for our RETA and our income tax collections. So I'm hoping I'll be able to update that and increase that a little bit. The second sheet that I gave you, the cash summary by fund, that's going to show current revenue budget in the first column is the fund balance. The second column is the current 2025 revenue budget. The next column is as of, I believe it was Tuesday when I printed this out, is our revenue received for the year. Then that is the fourth column is the percentage of revenue of our budget that we have received. The fifth column is our current appropriation budget and our current 2025 year-to-date expenses. So if you look at the last 4 columns, we've got our actual income and or deficit in the fourth column from the end. And in the second column from the end, we have our 2025 budgeted income deficit. So basically, if the budget does play out as that ending balance, that 953, 921.12, our 2026 budget of the 514, we would end up with a balance of 418,000. And I know that our budget expenses look good at 63%. However, I also printed out a purchase order listing with some of the larger purchase orders that we still have to pay out, and that's $1 million. So I'm thinking that we're going to be close to or exceed our budget for the year.
For this year?
For this year,
Okay.
yes. So I do believe we have to find a way to make some cuts if we're not going to have that revenue. And as Rob explained, we do have the motor vehicle license tax fund, and that's 2101. So it's looking like we have currently, or as of 12/31 of last year, 103,000, and this year 174,000. I believe, if I'm correct, John, that can be used for road projects and any street funds, but we can confirm with John on that one. And then we also have the State Highway Fund, number 2021, which has about $140,000 in it. So basically, we're going to have find other funding methods. Or in 2 years, our general fund will be depleted,
Gone.
basically.
Okay. next question is being developed. So as far as looking at these capital projects, at this point, very prematurely on our, what we're going to end up with, would you recommend passing a 26 budget like we did this year with no capital in it, or very limited capital, not what everybody is wanting, and we input capital projects as the year goes on? I know by June, I believe Ryan and Kaylee have to be started. So, and it has to be started for us to get our, that grant money, all that grant money. So that's pretty much a must-do. But some of these other things, what would be your recommendation?
I think some of them we'll have to hold off on and pick maybe the most important item and start with that, see where our numbers go next year. I know we have the new businesses coming in hopefully next year. The Great Day will start having employees.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Cardinal, we'll get a full year. We've had them for about 5 months now. So hopefully that will make an impact on our budget. But I'm thinking that we may have to find some other alternative methods to pay for the items if they are a necessity.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
And Mr. Mayor, I just met with the engineer yesterday, so I haven't really gotten to really dig into the capital budget, but I will.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
Nikki, we talked about some of the TIF money we didn't collect this year
Correct.
that we'll be collecting, what, in January? Will that come in?
We will get, by March, we'll have our first deposit, and then I believe it's in August is our last deposit.
And some of that, though, some of that money's from this year yet, though?
Yes.
Correct. Any idea, around 40, is it around 40,000?
It was 40 last year, I believe.
Do we look for that to increase this next year?
That I honestly am not sure if they have the final, if the county has finally, valued the property, or if that was their initial value. That's something we would have to look into. But yes, this year, we currently had $38,766.60 for the DROF and $9,965.52 for the MPK.
Would the county have those numbers yet, or?
I haven't looked. I can look.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
Yeah. I know that Joe had that slated for the, a project. I don't have his budget with me, but he intended on using it on one of the projects.
Okay.
Mayor Colgraf?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I had one question for Nicole. While Nicole and Mr. Montello, while you're looking at those two funds, you mentioned the 2021 State Highway Fund and some of the purposes those funds can be used for, as well as 2101 for Motor Vehicle License Tax Fund. Also, I'd like to know, not necessarily today, but 2091 Law Enforcement Trust Fund, what are some of the permitted uses for that fund as well?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
We can look into that. I believe the chief knows what some of the items you can use the Law Enforcement Trust Fund for.
Chief, do you know any offhand? You want to share it with us?
On the TIF issue, remember, they're always a year behind on the values, so even if they have updated their value this year, we won't collect the money till 27, I think. But anyway.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, so the law enforcement trust fund that Mr. Whedon has talked about was established, I don't know how many years ago, quite a few years. And I believe in that fund, there is a little over $60,000. That money has to be used for the police department only, and it can be used for any type of equipment that the police department needs. I don't believe that it can be used to pay salaries or wages, but it can be used for equipment. For example, the latest BAC machine that the state is requiring police departments to have if you're going to be arresting OVIs, that piece of equipment is $12,000, and there's a pretty long waiting list for that. There are computers that are in the cruisers, MDTs, and the computers that are in the offices. If those have to be updated, that money can be used towards that. Radar units, weapons, any other type of equipment like that, that's what that fund is for.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, can that money be used towards outfitting vehicles as well?
I believe it can, yes.
Any other questions? So just kind of, Brian, you, Councilman Spitzner, I guess, Nikki, before we, I know we're going to look at everyone's operating budget, you've been doing that. We probably should maybe, similar to what we did last year, just look at the budget with just some of the capital items that we feel have to be done. You know, like some of the road projects where we are getting funding, and if we don't do it this year, we'll lose that funding, so we certainly want to do those. And then if there is any must-haves, and look at that before we even go any further. Is that kind of what you're summing up?
Mr.
And
Mayor,
then if
yes.
that looks, yes, if that doesn't look good, then we will have to even look further for some ways to adjust.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
And again, I'm waiting for another month or two. Hopefully, we can increase some of that revenue. But I don't know if maybe the department heads can take a second look at some of their line items and reduce some of those a little bit. But we'd need to crunch some numbers for sure. Get that number down.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Nicole, on the purchase order listings that you gave us, the amount encumbered, is that what all of these are eventually going to come out to, or?
That's how much we originally put on the purchase order.
Okay.
And I just printed those just so you knew that some of the bigger purchases that we still have coming up, for
Sure.
instance, and I don't know where mine is, but we still owe the Village of Oakwood for $179,000. Our insurance, we still have quite a bit owed on it through the year. Chagrin Valley Engineering has a larger balance. Just some of the items that have bigger balances that we still owe, just so you have an idea that we still have money to be spent.
Right, and
this year.
I understand too with Village of Oakwood, that total is going to be paid. That's what the contract was. But something like Bricker Graydon, for the purchase order was opened up for 50. Is it going to fulfill all of, I mean, I'm thinking that some of them are not going to be filled.
Correct.
Okay.
Bricker Graydon, the prior year, we had a lot of expenses with them, but not as much this year. So that could be something that we would wipe off, and that would improve our budget. So again, it's a matter of seeing where we are at the end of the year, kind of going from there, I think.
Well, considering we have to, or we should have a budget, we need a basic operating budget by December 31st. and we should have something, you know, that, by the latest, that regular council meeting in December.
Correct.
Right? So that would, I guess, just what the mayor said, that we should maybe decide what we are definitely going to put in,
Mhm.
and leave out the rest, and then as the year progresses,
Mhm.
put it in just like we did this year.
Right.
I think, for what it's worth, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Kalman's presentation of his service department needs requests, there's 98,000 that's already committed with the salt. We need to do that, so we need that increase. I would, for what it's worth, I would vote to include his increases in this budget that we would pass in December. Because I don't see, his part-time wages, we need those fire hydrants painted. To me, that's kind of a need-to-do type of thing. And that 37.8, I believe that's for that fire alarm system. So that's a need to do also.
Mayor Colgrove?
Yes, go ahead.
Just a comment, thank you, Nicole, for the directive that you voiced regarding each department, going back and taking a close look at all of the line items. Absolutely, that's the way I believe we should go. I agree with you. Yes, Mr. Kalman gave us a presentation last week. We will hear from the chief today, and still have yet to hear from the Recreation Department, Recreation and Community Life Department. So all three of those major departments still have opportunity to dig in, take a further look at all of their line items, and to potentially present something that helps with the reduce the deficit or projected deficit. Thank you.
Any other comments? And we can, I mean, we're gonna be in this finance, so any comments that come up, we can add. Do we wanna start with the chief, start his, then, and if anything comes up? Any, residents have any comments at this time? Anybody watching the live stream? Okay. Go ahead, chief.
Thank you. So for 2026, what I'd like to propose is the cruisers and outfitting the cruisers. I suggest that we purchase 4 new cruisers next year. I've been trying to get those since the end of 23, beginning of 2024. You're looking at a price estimated at approximately $50,000 per cruiser, and that's without outfitting them. That is just the basic vehicle cost. Then we would have to put new cameras in those 4 cruisers, dash cams, and the total for the 4 cameras would be approximately $25,000. And then the installation of all of the equipment in the cruisers and the decals, you're probably looking at $21,000 per cruiser. The MDTs in the cruisers, those are the computers that the officers use to be able to run license plates and people that they are pulling over and get warrants and information on those people. We were informed this year, maybe the end of last year, that Leeds was requiring all of the MDTs to have a secondary authentication, and that is, I believe, provided with Windows 11. And with the MDTs that we currently have, and I don't know the date that we purchased them, but I do know that they were refurbished computers. They have currently Windows 10 and they cannot accept Windows 11. So we would have to go ahead and purchase new computers to be able to have that upgrade. And I am currently waiting on a grant for those computers, and I'm being told by Lexipol that there is a possibility that we would have an answer for that grant somewhere around Thanksgiving. So Leeds was requiring us to have the new computers by October 11th of this year, but I called them and they said, well, that's what we were hoping for. And I told them I'm not going to have the information whether or not we're going to have that grant approved or not until around Thanksgiving. And they assured me that there is a rush, but there isn't a rush. They require that we have this update by our next audit, which I believe is January of 2027. So you're looking at about a year from now. And if we don't have this upgrade done by then we would end up being zinged, and I don't know if there would be a penalty or anything from Leeds. Could they shut us down? I mean, that would possibly be one of the issues. So getting these computers, if we don't have the computers, the officers can't do the job that they're currently doing, and that would put more work on the dispatchers. But like I said, we are looking at purchasing those through a grant, and the total for those is in the ballpark of $42,000. And that would include 10 computers, docking stations, vehicle adapters, the warranty, and a bridge, which would work as the internet provider for the vehicles. I know I've brought this up a couple times, the dispatch center upgrade and the remodel. It would be great if we can get 4 dispatch stations in there with the new furniture and the remodel. We're looking at somewhere around $436,000. With that, I believe with talking to council person Allen, since the dispatch center is something that would be sticking around for 15 to 20 years. Right now, I think our dispatch center is somewhere in the age of about 20 years. We should be able to get a better interest rate, possibly go for a 20-year lease on that through the village instead of going through Motorola. And that would bring down the payment, the yearly payment drastically to be able to purchase that. If I can go back to the cruisers, I have given council an option of either purchasing those vehicles outright, and we would have to come up with $200,000 just for the cruisers, or we can go ahead with a leasing program, and that lease would be for 5 years. And instead of paying the $200,000 right up front, we can get 4 cruisers and pay approximately $50,000 a year. Now, we can't do that with the equipment or the outfitting of it, but we could do that with the vehicles themselves, and that could save us a little bit of money. Yeah, we're going to have to pay a little bit of interest on that, but again, paying over a 5-year period instead of, a one lump lump sum, that is another way to go. I know we've never done a leasing program, but it might, it might be something to consider. Again, with the dispatch center, I have made a proposal of possibly bringing back another police department. That would assist us in the upgrade to our dispatch center. Right now, we could possibly do that, to bring back that other police department without having to make these adjustments right away, because we have done that in the past. But the upgrade to the dispatch center is definitely needed. They don't have spare equipment in case our equipment goes down. That's how old it is. Possibility of having a second police department come over, and that would help us out drastically as well, paying for additional dispatchers to sit the board, and also for the upgrade. I'd be looking at just having a total of 3 departments that we would be dispatching for. Walton Hills would be included in that. And I just think that it would be a great benefit because then we would be able to communicate with these other departments. And I think officer safety would definitely increase for not only us, but for those other departments if we are on the same band or at least in the same room with that other police department. I would have to, if we went with a 3rd police department, they are a little bit bigger than Oakwood and Walton Hills, so we would have to look at increasing the full-time dispatch staff. So I'd probably have to hire 4 full-time dispatchers, and I would need approximately 4 to 6 part-time dispatchers, and that would be if we had 3 police departments that we were dispatching for. The flock cameras, I know you're all aware of what they are and what they do and they provide. We would be looking at a 1-year contract for 13 cameras strategically mounted around the village. And at first, flock was requiring us to have a 2-year contract with them, and it was somewhere around $90,000 for that 2-year contract. But the last proposal that they gave us, they did state that they would grant us a 1-year, and that 1-year contract would cost the village $47,450. So that, I don't know if the next year the price would increase or not, but for that 1-year contract, it'd be $47,450, and that would be for 13 cameras.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Brian.
before you proceed, does that $47,450 include the cost of the cameras, or is the cost of the cameras separate?
That's everything. The cost of the cameras, installation on some of the cameras, the hardware, the software,
Okay, thank you.
and warranty. Personnel. Currently, we have 4 sergeants, 1 detective, and 9 officers. Have 0 part-timers. And at one time, we had 4 part-time officers working 32 hours per week. And we currently have 2 auxiliary officers. There is, we just recently hired a full-time officer. He started approximately a week ago. So he is in the training process right now, the FTO program. I have discussed the possibility of another full-time officer that I would like to hire, and a discussion was had that there is a grant available to hire another full-time officer at believe, 75% of their salary for 3 years, but I believe it is a total payment of somewhere around $125,000 or $175,000 for the 3 years. That grant has been completed through Lexipol, and again, I have been told that there's a possibility we would hear something about that grant around Thanksgiving, so that's what we're waiting for. And if we do get approved for that grant, that will be another conversation that I have to have with council and the mayor to discuss if we're going to go ahead and hire another full-time officer from that grant. We do have one officer that is leaving May of 2026. We do have 2 officers that are currently in the drop program that can leave at any time. A 3rd officer will have 25 years of service March of 2026 and is eligible to leave for retirement at that time as well. So we could, by May of 2026, lose 4 officers. Okay, definitely going to be losing at least 1 to retirement. There's been discussion for quite a few years about a carport extending off of the west side of the building here to protect the cruisers out of the weather, the sun, and the snow. They do take a beating. The equipment that we have in those cruisers, the dash cams, the radar units, the MDTs, those do take a beating with the weather. If a cruiser is not used for a whole day and we do have a 90-degree day, the temperature that's in 100 degrees, and it does take a toll on the equipment. Same thing in the wintertime. You know, you get 20, 25 degrees days there, several of them at a time, and the cold does affect the equipment as well. I know when we first started with the MDTs and the cruisers, we tried to go the least expensive way, and we were using tablets. And police officers are not the most gentlest people out there, and you know, if you have a tablet, you know how gentle you have to be. And again, with the weather and you know, the heat and the cold, we had to start the vehicles up and have them run either with the heat or with the air conditioner on before those tablets would actually start functioning. So the equipment inside the cruisers do take a little bit of a beating, and if we had a little bit of protection out there, that might help us out a little bit. So that concludes my proposed budget for 2026.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, I was looking through the budget here, and this year you were, which to me is just completely absurd, budgeting $50,000 for next year for car maintenance and repair. I mean, that right there is your payment for 5 vehicles with a lease. This year it was $44,000. I just wanted to point that out.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what the repair budget had for each individual vehicle. I would have to take a look at that. I'm sure that spending for the repairs had a lot to do with the older vehicles. Some of the newer vehicles, my newest vehicle, I think, is a 2021. I'm sure there have been repairs that have been done to that one as well. So it's the older vehicles that are taking most of the money from that budget, but it's not just those vehicles. The newer ones are needing repairs as well.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
as far as your dispatching information with these other police departments. Do you have anything in writing from them that they would do such a thing, and at what cost? Because we'd have to see a cost analysis if we were going to think about doing something like that. So I would want to know that one and or two other departments were coming over, would sign a letter of intent and cover our costs for, you know, the contract would cover our costs for doing that upgrade in equipment and hiring those individuals.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
if I may, Chief, I do have phone calls in for meetings, and if we could get a letter of intent, we would be looking at about 700,000 possibly.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah. Go ahead, Chief.
I have not gotten any written or formal information from these police departments. I have just talked to police chiefs, and they stated that they would be interested. They'd have to get out of their current contract, and they are required to give a 6-month notice to get out of that contract. So if it started today, they would not be able to come over here until April, maybe the end of March. So I have not, since I have not gotten the permission or the authority to go forward, I have not asked for a formal, letter of intent from these other departments. But as Councilperson Allen stated, I do have figures out there of what they are currently paying. And I can let you know what that is. If you're interested, we can talk about that at a later time.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to see in order for me to make a decision like that, I would need to see a spreadsheet of all of the costs of the equipment and the personnel and the income, an income and expense spreadsheet of what exactly we're looking at and what that contract would entail. And that contract, if we're going to go ahead and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to upgrade the equipment and hire multiple people, I would assume, or at least I would want to give those people some sort of solace that they're going to be here past 6 months. I would not want to see a contract. I would want to see a contract that's a solid 2-year contract. You're in this at least 2 years. And then with a 6 months notice, at least 2, yeah, right, exactly. So I would not want to spend all that money, hire the personnel, and then 6 months later have people, well, we found a better deal down the road, and then we're stuck with people and a big bill. So that's what I would want to see in order for me to vote to move forward on that. I don't think that's asking too much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
I believe it was the beginning of this year, might have been end of last year, that I did have a proposal on a spreadsheet, and I gave it to council, and it did have that breakdown of what it would, a possible figure, I believe, of what those departments, their contribution would be, what it would cost, the breakdown of hiring the additional help that included OPER's benefits as well. So you should have all of that information. If you don't, I believe I still may have that on my computer, and I can forward that to you. I don't disagree with you as far as needing that contract and definitely having some type of commitment of 2 years or plus for that. I believe that our dispatch center in the past, when we had a second department over here, ran fantastic. And we did not have any issues or complaints from that police department. I think it worked very well in favor of both that other department and Walton Hills. So I believe that, yes, it does come down to the cost and money, and every department is trying to save money. So it would really be upsetting to me if, after 6 months or a year, one of those departments decide, oh, we're going someplace else. So yeah, I do agree. And I guess if we're gonna go forward with this and I do get that approval, there shouldn't be a problem with drafting that letter and seeing what those other departments are committed to doing.
I have a question. I know you had the Safety and Insurance Committee reviewed it. What was your recommendation? Or didn't you come up with a conclusion?
We didn't come to a conclusion yet until we had more information.
Okay, so that's what you're working on?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
One of the communities that we're speaking of had a very large upset over there.
Oh, yeah.
So things are, it's hard to get somebody nailed down right now.
I think as a committee, you should also, and I felt you guys expressed this, I don't know if you've done it yet, you're seeking thing, but did you seek what it would cost if our dispatch was done by someone else? Has that due diligence been done?
Not yet.
Okay. Because that's approached all the time. Probably one of the few communities doing it themselves. And I, myself, I'm in favor of that, because doing it for our community is the best service I feel to the residents. Maybe you feel that's true with multiple communities, but just the communication I have with mayors in multiple communities, there's always a lot of issues. And the biggest reason they do it is we all know why. Finances.
Mr.
So
Mayor?
there's, and I don't think this office is courted all the time by that. They don't open this department. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor? So I was just informed today that one of our businesses was being inspected for their fire alarm. And one of the things that the inspector noticed was that when that fire alarm goes off, that the police department is informed first. That way we can start heading that way, letting the fire department know if we do happen to see activity at that fire alarm. And they were told that that's not the proper way to do it. And they will not receive a passing grade if the police department is notified first. The fire department has to be notified first. And to be able to do that, that means that the city that dispatches our fire department will be notified first. And then, hopefully, that city dispatch contacts the Walton Hills Police Department so that we can start responding over there. So our police department is going to find out about it a little later, and our response time will suffer a little bit. What's the fire department, or what's the police department gonna do when they respond there? If this place is fully engulfed, there's not too much that we can do. If there's a lot of smoke coming out of the building, I know personally, I have gone into buildings and had to go in and pull some people out of a building that has had smoke in there, okay? So there is advantages for the police department to get to a fire. We can't put any fires out, well, maybe we can with the fire extinguisher, okay? If a resident ends up having a fire in their kitchen, in the stove, and the police department gets there first, we can use a fire extinguisher and put that out. So there is a little bit of a problem with, our response time. It will be delayed a little bit. And if you go forward with having another company do our police dispatching, that's a possibility that could happen too. Your response times will suffer a little bit. Thank you.
I'm just gonna make it very clear. I'm not suggesting we do that. Okay? And we'll take it off record. And you can talk with the fire chief and see what we can talk about that incident you're bringing up at this time. I'm suggesting that we do our due diligence and make sure before we make a large investment, okay, and a large investment with employees, in a situation where a half hour ago, we said we're worried about passing an operating budget. And now you're contemplating taking more. I understand that there could be some revenue. We all understand that. I certainly understand that. I've listened to the conversations. I've talked to the chief on multiple times. But is this the right time? But I guess that's something for the Safety Insurance Committee to digest, come up with some recommendations, and see if the rest of council supports it. I'll support it if it's the right thing for the community. Any other questions related to anything? Chief, did you want to share anything else? Did we want to talk about, I know you mentioned the lease. Do we have numbers for that? Because that might be, as far as I'm concerned, some of those things that you suggested as a must-do that we can put with the operating budget if we do capital as we go. Whether it doesn't necessarily have to be 4 cars, maybe we look at our options as 1 or 2, 3 or 4. At least you'd see some real numbers with leasing. That would help. If you have them, that's good.
So from this quote from Ford, they gave us a leasing option for 2 vehicles. And for 60 payments at a rate of 7.99, you would be looking at $1,975 a month. If we decided to go with 5 payments, you'd have the same interest rate, and that payment would be $22,740. For 4 units, 60 payments, you'd have the same interest rate, but the payments for the 4 vehicles would be $3,939 a month. If we went with 5 payments, same interest rate, it would be $45,353.
Have you shared that with Nikki yet, or Melissa yet?
I'm not sure, but I know I shared it with all of council. I'm pretty sure they got this
We'll share it with
information
Nikki
and
then.
it was current.
Mr. Mayor,
Numbers together.
I just have a question. Does that include the outfitting costs, or is that just the
That's
cost
just
of
the
the vehicle?
cruisers. Yep. I cannot get a payment plan for the outfitting. Okay, that's gonna have to be paid up front. And same thing with the camera systems. the dash cams that go in there.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
and you said the outfitting, you have a total, I know you broke it down, but the total for outfitting a vehicle,
It's
probably
approximately
50,
20,000.
20,000?
20,000 per vehicle.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, that fund you talked about earlier tonight, the 60,000, that could be used to outfit these? Say we got 2 cars at 22,700 for the lease, and then you use some of that 60,000 to outfit it,
I
or
believe-
cameras and,
I believe it could be used for that, okay? Again, I don't know if I'm gonna be approved for the grant for the computers that are going in the car. I'm looking at approximately $43,000 for that. That's another must. There's other equipment that I'd be willing to discuss at a later date that we definitely have to upgrade as well. There is a BAC piece of equipment that we should probably be looking at purchasing. Right now, we have to take our OVI arrests to either Northfield Village or Macedonia to have them blow into their machine. This piece of equipment costs approximately $12,000. So right there with the other equipment that I could possibly be looking at, that money could be gone.
okay.
If we didn't get the grant for that, Chief, would that $12,000 piece of equipment, would you say that's a must-have? Should we include that in a must-have budget?
As of right now, I would say no, because I have 2 other police departments that are helping us get through our OVI arrests. We don't have, in the past years, our OVI arrests have gone down drastically, but if you have been reading the OWL, you see that we're getting approximately 3 to 4 OVI arrests a month, if not more. So last year, I think we might have had 25. If it's going the way it is, I'm expecting about 40 to 50 this year. Right now, those police departments are not charging us for that. And all we're going over to these other police departments for is to have them blow into the machine. With this new piece of equipment, the officers that would be operating the machine, and you're looking at all of our officers would be operators, they would be required to attend an operator class before they can go ahead and operate this new piece of equipment. So it's not just getting that new piece of equipment, I would have to send them to schools to be able to operate that piece of equipment. So it would take a little bit more than just purchasing that equipment. And right now, the program that we have is working pretty well for us. And those departments that are helping us are very close, so.
Okay. So any questions I don't know if anybody else has any questions for the chief at this time for the budget, or? I know, Chief, well, I guess I do have one more. We didn't go through your operating, but you heard Nikki, our fiscal officer, mention, she'll have a better handle on things in a month or so. Even though we had to go through this process, really started now, because as Mr. Councilman Spitznagel said, be nice to pass a budget like we did last year in December, at our last meeting. As far as operating, do you see any changes there, or is your operating budget, you feel pretty tight?
I did sit down with
Right.
Ms. Nicole, and we did come up, I think it is pretty tight.
Okay.
I don't think there's a whole lot of wiggle room there.
Okay. Any other questions? Nikki, do you want to add anything?
No, I have nothing to add.
Chief, did you want to add anything else, or anybody want to add anything else? Jeff, did you have somebody in the back have a question earlier? Oh, okay. I thought well, council's good. You want to move on, or Councilman Pro Tem Lee, do you want to move on from finance? Or?
Yes, Mayor Colograph, just a final comment. Thank you to the chief for coming in tonight, or sticking around and presenting. And of course, it would be very helpful for, because you gave us a lot of numbers especially for the 2026 priorities, if that's cars or whatever it might be. If you could put that all on one piece of paper, that would be beneficial to all of us. Not just for the capital, but as you know, I know we just talked about the operation, and hopefully you go back, take another look, and just take another hard look, as you know where we are as it relates to you heard where we are as it relates to wrapping up 2025 and going into 2026. Same message for all departments. So not just safety department. Other than that, Mayor, no, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Anything else to add for this conversation?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, I know that we've spoken a few times about filling the lieutenant position. Do you know what that increase would be to your salary budget?
The increase, the difference in the wage between sergeant and lieutenant is 10%.
Okay.
That is what the current CBA states. So I know I did address that issue with the safety committee a few months ago, that I would like to fill that lieutenant's position. That way they could be assisting the chief of police and the administrative issues that we have to deal with. It just gets more and more complex of what the state is asking for, the Ohio Collaborative is asking for, and it would be preparing that officer to possibly step in as the next administrator for the police department.
When you say administrator, what do you mean administrator?
The police chief.
Police chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Any residents have any questions relating to item 10, finance update and budget discussion? Any non-residents? Okay, we'll move on to item 11, old and new business. I have no old business. New business, we do have the Halloween party, which is Sunday. There's trunk or treat. There's also the inside thing. I know there was people wondering about that. Mary mentioned it to me after Natalie decided to put it. I guess there were some people that wanted to do it outside, and some people, I'm gonna do mine inside still. We welcome it all, and we'll see how it goes.
Depends on the weather.
Yeah, and I did mention we used to do trunk or treat at the Dunham Road Church of Christ at one time. And kind of what changed it was, of course, the weather. So hopefully that will be we'll get a good turnout at that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Chief.
Just wanted to advise everyone that the police department will be participating in trunk or treat. And the party afterwards, we are raffling off 2 bicycles, one for a boy and one for a girl. So we're hoping that we will get a pretty nice showing for that Halloween party.
And we appreciate that, especially the hard work you guys put into that and stuff, so that will be nice. That will be a nice surprise for 2 winners. So, to be a bike is still kind of a cool thing to win, you know. I mean, a bike's when we were kids, a bike was a big deal. Now they probably
electric bike.
Yeah. No. Kids need to be pedaling more, you know, they need to be outside just running. So that, we will have that. Any discussion about, so we're off next week, any discussion about that Tuesday meeting? Did you?
I was just telling Councilman Whedon, I'll email him my schedule for November, correct? For the, my November schedule.
Yeah, and if we don't need to know, if you're still looking, we can always make those adjustments and we'll post it, as long as we have enough time to post it and everything.
Yeah, one item or one comment, Mayor, when the initial schedule went out of our meetings and committee meetings, all of that stuff, all of those items, not stuff, there was a asterisk and a note next to the November 12 meeting that says potential meet on Wednesday. So just want to say that it was kind of thrown out there, you know, months ago for November 12. And I know it depends on where we are with, you know, our budget discussions and things like that. So a couple options we talked about last week. One is November 4 if we cancel altogether or meet early in the day, which I'm perfectly amenable to that. And then for potentially for November 12, November 11 meeting, which is Tuesday, move that to Wednesday so that we can continue to put in the work and do what we need to do as a council, serving our residents.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm fine with coming in earlier on the 4th. We could be here at 4 o'clock. Nikki wouldn't have to leave and come back.
Right.
Yeah, I would leave that to, well, not leave that, but I would yield and once we hear from those three candidates, what their day is going to be like as it relates to November 4th.
Yeah, because the time we can always adjust and, Brian, if you want to.
Yeah, I didn't upload my schedule yet, so I will get that to you tomorrow morning.
Okay. And we can
I
do
wrote
like
it on
we do when we have tight schedules. We can get a time and have an adjourned time and just kind of state that, you know, and stuff, so. Anybody else have any old or new business at this time?
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just, Councilman Spitznagel and myself, I had heard that the MGM casino was up for sale, and it was just a day after that Mr. Spitznagel, he sent me this, that Northfield, MGM Northfield, it's going to be sold $546 million.
Cash.
And we still receive nothing. I know our police department has worked up there plenty of nights when there's been traffic and what have you, so, and accidents, and just new management coming in. Maybe at some point we could sit down and talk with them and see if we can't work something out. You know, I'm not opposed to sitting down with them and seeing if we can't maybe get a squad car too. You know, it's anything's possible, I guess, but you got to try.
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I don't want this to be seen as confrontational at all, because it's not. I'd just like to, I guess, get on my soapbox a little bit. We had a abstain vote tonight, and I don't know why, and that kind of doesn't sit well with me. Not that Councilwoman Allen didn't have a valid reason to vote abstain, but I would like, we're supposed to be a team, and teams work best when we're all communicating together. And that was the third abstention this year, without any discussion. Maybe I would have voted no or some other way had I known the reason for the abstention. And again, this is not to be confrontational at all. It's just, if we're a team, and I have a reason to vote no, people are gonna know that I'm gonna vote no before I vote no. And why? And it's up to me to maybe try to get you to come over to my way of thinking. And we've done that before. We've bantered about things and changed things and things like that. But it just, or same thing, if I'm gonna abstain, the only reason I can see for abstaining is if I had a conflict of interest, which in my 20 years here, I think I did abstain once because of a business in Walton Hills. And it was known, I made that clear before I voted, why I was voting to abstain, so everybody knew. But if I have a difference of opinion or I'm going to vote abstain, I will tell the residents, this is an open meeting, and my colleagues on council why I'm gonna vote that way. And I just don't like surprises like that. Like I said, we're supposed to be a team. I think we're a good team, and that just kind of, it tarnishes it a little bit for me. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Any other comments at this time?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would just like to point out that's the first time this year that I abstained, not the third.
And you didn't say
I
that.
don't, huh?
You didn't say that. You said there was three.
There's
but
3
You
abstains.
didn't say there was, she did all 3. You did not say that.
No, I did not, no,
No.
you did not
I
abstain.
just wanted to
3 times.
clarify that.
He didn't say that.
And I chose to abstain because I was slightly uncomfortable with it. We have a lot of questions about that. I didn't stop it from going under suspension, and the
Right.
rest of council felt comfortable with it, so that was my choice.
Yes, it was, and Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we don't need to banter back and forth. How I would have handled it, obviously you handled it differently. If I had reservations, I wouldn't have sat silent. I would have said what my reservations were, and maybe other council members possibly would have maybe said, you know what, I think that, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we ought to put this on for first reading or something like that. Obviously, you had concerns, you just stated that. Again, communication with the team, that's all. Thank you, and thank you.
And I'm not gonna comment on that. I'm just gonna comment on myself, just like I stated, with the safety items and stuff and everything in my tenure. I will always take a stand. If for some reason I can't, I will get back to it and take a stand. You'll know exactly where I'm at, and that's how I've always been. And it's the way it has to be. We owe it to the residents. Any other comments? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mayor Colgraf, members of council,
Councilman Whedon.
I'd like to ask for the adjournment of the council meeting for today, October 21st, 2025, 8:53 p.m.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nielsen. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned at 8:54 p.m. Hope to see everybody Sunday. Have a good week. Good weekend.
I got more papers here that I know what to do with.
Don't forget the-
How'd it go, Jeff?
We have some
Jeff.
books to sign.
Do we?